Hi everyone, it's Anja here. I'm back with another video for Ophelia Crafts, and yes, we are doing more Christmas cards. And if you're wondering about the fact that I'm wearing the same thing again, well, this is to, tell you that it's a Christmas card. It's my Christmas jumper and I've been wearing it. I've put it on the back of my chair, and every time I've filmed a Christmas card, I've been putting it on. It's been interesting. Christmas in September, hey? Right, so we have, this is the card that we are making. Now, not exactly. I got the idea from the catalogue. So we have our Christmas catalogue, or our it's here. It's called Handmade for the Season, Autumn Winter Catalogue 2015. 1st of September to 4th of January 2016. On page 18 we have the Cup of Cheer stamp set, and this is the card that I was looking at, and I thought, oh, I'm going to recreate that. But of course you get an idea and then it changes. So this is the card I came up with, because I saw there was some vellum with gold, but I don't have any of that vellum, so I made my own. So this is Gorgeous Grunge that I inked up in Versamark, and then I put the gold embossing on, and I turned it into a strip, so we'll cut that up later on. But that's how I made my own sort of embellishments here, and I cut some strips there. But something went wrong, obviously. Here, this doesn't seem to continue, and also it's too green. It's just too green. So I'm going to up the card a little bit by putting an extra layer of cherry cobbler. So my base is Mossy Meadow. This is for our inside, so we'll just leave that there for now. And then we have a cherry cobbler mat, and then I have 2 strips of cherry cobbler and Mossy Meadow, and then I've got that 1 strip of vellum that I did myself. So that's our starting point, and we are using Cup of Cheer and Gorgeous Grunge, and yes, we are using this as well. Let me tell you later on what we're going to be using that for. Right, so let's start with making our focal point, and that is this one here. Now, when I looked at the picture in the catalogue, I could see that, well, I'm thinking that this was gold embossed. It might not be, but I'm thinking that it is. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have to ink up my stamp in different ways. I'm going to ink up the stamp in Mossy Meadow for the wreath, and obviously I don't have the pen, so I'm going to be very careful and ink up the stamp with the side of the ink pad like this, and I'm not worrying about the berries. We are going to put those in later on. So do make sure you've had all the wreath, you've touched it with the ink pad. Then what I'm going to do, I've got my trusted cloth here somewhere. I've just got a little bit of Mossy Meadow on the soon, so I'm just going to take that off, and I've got a little bit on here as well. So I'm just going to take that off, and this, there we go. Now, a long time ago, I was in a local craft shop and I saw a Versamark marker. So I got that, and I've been, once in a while you use it. And so now I thought this would be handy to use, because I am inking up the words in Versamark. Now, I suppose you could ink everything up in Versamark and then go over it with the the wreath, go over the wreath with the, yes, I've got builders next door or something like that. Can't help it, they've been making noises all the time, so I'm going to have to live with it. Sort of ink it up completely in Versamark, then do the green. I think that would work as well, but that would make your green sticky, and you don't want it to be too sticky because you want to be able to emboss it. So what am I getting out now? This is something I always forget, embossing buddy. So let's do a little bit of paper with embossing buddy, then huff on it, stamp it, get your embossing powder out, and we also need a scrap piece of paper, which I will just get from here. So this comes off, this goes on. You tap it lightly this way and that way. So what I'm trying to do is trying to avoid it going onto the ink or the mossy meadow. Okay, it worked earlier, so I'm sure it will work again. And this is my to-do list. And let's tap it off. And can you see? I now have embossing powder just on the words and not on my inked, you know, sort of mossy meadow bit. So let's just put this embossing powder back into the pot. There we go, that can go back. Always close your embossing powder before you start heating up. Because of course it will blow everywhere. Yes, it happened. Right, okay, I will put some music on. That embossed. Can you see how nice it's shiny? And now we're going to use our brush. This is just an old brush from my stash. And we're going to add, because again I don't have the pen for the cherry cobbler, we're going to add with the top of the pen of the brush here, we're going to just add some red dots, and it does work. You might think, oh, and just be careful going into your ink pad. You don't want to damage it, obviously, but it does work. And I just go round. I mean, there are the green dots, but I'm not too worried about those. I'll just put some red dots next to it. More? Do we want more? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so there we go. That's that. Now let's put that to the side, and we punch this out with the 2.5 inch circle punch. So there we go. So that's our focal point ready. Now we're going to emboss some more, because as you noticed, I embossed onto the card here. I'm not going to do that this time. Why have I still got this open? I just better close it up because it's one of those colours, isn't it? This time I'm going to emboss on here. So let's try that. I'm going to put it like this, I think, onto my paper here, because I want to make sure my lines are straight. Let's see if I can manage that. Okay, so what's the easiest way? Yeah, I have it straight there. Can you still see that in the picture? Yeah. And then have it straight coming like that. Okay. See, that's what this grid paper is good for. It's good for all kinds of things, really. Okay, and did I ink it up completely? One more here. And I'm sort of keeping it to the top half of my piece of paper. And once again, we need, I didn't do the embossing body this time. It's not really necessary. If anything strays, it doesn't really matter. It's not a detailed piece of you know, art here. We're just doing the gorgeous grunge, basically. If it's a little bit more grungy than we want, that's fine. Okay. Now I have got a little line there from my stamp, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to cover that up. So I am going to just slightly go into that and get rid of some of that, so that it's not, you know, it doesn't have, it's not too obvious that something went wrong there, right? So once again, I am going to heat this, and I'll be back in a sec when I've cleared this up and heated this. Okay, so here we are. We've got our base for our card front here. So let's see if we put that there. Then we have this one here, right? So we might have to put it a little bit askew, but we can possibly do it with this one here. And I'm now going to get the scissors, and I'm just going to cut into to make banners. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. And then we have our, I think I like that better. Okay, let's assemble it. First of all, as well, I'm going to give it a nice edge. This is the new triple edge punch, so it's 2 edges and 1 hole. Now I'm going to, which one shall I choose? There's too much choice. Make sure it's in really well. There we go, good. Excellent. Yep. Looking good. And last one. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, glue time. So there's always a lot of sort of ideas in the catalogue, and generally what I do is I'll look at them and then you just make your own, don't you? You sort of think, oh, I like that, and then you go away and you start getting your supplies together. But by the time I've got everything together, generally I've sort of adapted the design to my preferences and to what I like, and then I deliberately do not go back to that picture until I've made the card, and then I go back and I think, oh, that looks quite different from what it was actually, from what I liked in the first place. But I then do really like my card, so that's always a way to remain original as well. You get an idea from somewhere and you just slightly adapt it. I'm just making sure that this looks uniform on both sides. And now I have here the sentiment, and I'm going to put that on there like that. There we go. And we have to do the inside. Right, so although this is a bit more work, this card, I hope you like it, and please give me a thumbs up and come back for more. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!